Series 12's shocking revelations about the Timeless Child and the Doctor's past left fandom divided. Some loved it, some hated it. But regardless on what side of that particular fence you fall on, I just want us to consider one question in a calm and civil manner. Should the Timeless Child have been the Master instead? And that is what we're going to be talking about in this video.
I'm sending you deep into the Matrix to understand the truth of Gallifrey and of the Time Lords. Brace yourself. This is going to hurt.
Hi, I'm Phil, welcome to my channel where I like to talk about all the pop culture that I enjoy, including an awful lot of Doctor Who. So if you like Who too, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because I'm always talking about it. And I want to hear what you think as well. Do you think the Master should have been the Timeless Child? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know why as well. My own conclusion of what I think maybe would have been a good thing to happen may surprise you, so stick around to the end of the video to find out what that is. So, what are the arguments for saying that the Master maybe was the better choice for the Timeless Child than the Doctor? Well, first of all, it never quite rang true to me, the Master's motivations for wiping out the whole of the species of the Time Lords. Especially if he's a post-Missy version of the character. Missy had a great story arc through Series 10. A redemption story arc. Well, a semi-redemption story arc, at least. By the end of it, she was remorseful about some of the lives she had taken. She wanted to stand with the Doctor. Given that arc, I can't believe the very next incarnation would slip so much back into old ways so quickly that just from the mere finding out that their friends, their person that they were willing to stand with not that long ago, was partly responsible for the genetic makeup of the Time Lords and your own ability to regenerate. I can't see that being a problem for a post-Missy Master. But if the Master had found out that he was the Timeless Child, that the early Gallifreyans had manipulated and abused him and taken his ability to give to the rest of the species and wiped his memory, well then I can see that possibly driving him to genocide in revenge and slipping back into those old ways. Also, if he was the Timeless Child, it might go some way to explaining partly how he is and why he is the way he is. And yes, we got the drumbeat semi-explanation for that back in the Russell T Davies era, but maybe the abuse he had suffered as the Timeless Child, maybe that contributed to it as well, made him more susceptible, or made him slightly psychologically unhinged to start with, so that when the drum beats came, it had the effect it had on him. It would also add an interesting new element to the dynamic between the Doctor and the Master in this very episode. She would feel, probably more so than even 12 felt for Missy, the sympathy for what he's gone through, the feeling the heartache, and as a consequence, we, the audience, would also feel that. It would make the Master still a slightly sympathetic character that we could, if not completely understand, at least empathise with to a certain degree. And while their dynamic at the moment is absolutely electrifying whenever they're on screen together, their chemistry is brilliant, just having that added depth to it might have just elevated it even more to one of the all-time great relationships of the show. I'd like to point out this isn't a theory. I don't think this is what has happened, because it quite clearly isn't. I'm just speculating on what might have been, a what if you will. Effectively, what I'm saying is, could the Master, being the Timeless Child, have added much more story opportunities, much more depth to the episode that we got, much more impact going forward? So, given all that, should this have been the way they went? Well, I actually have a third option for you. What if they had both been the Timeless Child? What if Tecteun had found 2 children on that planet? What if the little boy that had spooked the little girl, Timeless Child, off on the top of that cliff into falling, was the Master? Because there was 2 of them. After discovering one has regenerative powers, Tecteun may well have experimented on both of them. They might have both joined the division. They could have been partners in the division. There's a whole spin-off there, possibly. But it would have been a really interesting dynamic to explore, this being both of them that had been there. Their relationship, which we up until now her thought has gone back 13 lifetimes to when they were children. That time maybe stretched back thousands of years more than that. It would have given us the best of both worlds. It would have given us the good stuff that we got from this episode. Because, let's be clear, I don't mind there being pre-Hartnell doctors. I know some people are very against it, and that's fine if you are. We're all entitled to our opinions, and that's yours, that's fine. If you think it would be better that there aren't pre-Hartnell incarnations, that's fine. But personally, I don't mind it at all. I've been a fan of the idea ever since I first saw the brain of Morbius, so it's not something that I am opposed to. Plus, there still needs to be a place to fit the Roof Doctor in, so yeah, maybe this would have been a good way to go. Have them both as the Timeless Children. It would give the Master the better motivation to wipe out Gallifrey because he personally has been violated, and it would have explained why he thought that the Doctor would be so torn up by it as well, because it's been her and him that have been manipulated by the early Time Lords. What if we go one step further in this hypothetical what if? What if, while they were both part of the division, it had actually been a sort of role reversal, and the Doctor was the one that had skirted that moral line, maybe taken some actions that the current Doctor would find reprehensible. And imagine that, and then imagine that the Master had also flipped, and in that Timeless Child version of his character, he was the one holding back the Doctor from doing these sorts of things. What would finding that out do to their current dynamic? What would finding that out do to the Doctor's psyche? That could be really interesting to explore. How does it shake up her sense of identity? Because that was clearly a theme they were kind of going for, but it kind of ended with them kind of still at the status quo with her sense of identity. This, I think, might have shaken it up even more. But that's not what we got. And that's fine. I still enjoyed the episode, and I am by no means arrogant enough to think that my version of what I would have done would be the best one. It's just a little hypothetical game, a little what if. So what do you think? Would you have liked it if the Master had been the Timeless Child instead? Would you have liked it if they had both been the Timeless Children together? Or do you have a third option? Is there somebody else you think would have made a much better Timeless Child than either of them? Let me know in the comments below as usual, and I will be back for more Doctor Who videos soon. I am planning on hopefully getting out a ranking of Series 12 this weekend, so look out for that. And there, as usual, there'll be lots more Doctor Who content coming. So do hit that like button, subscribe, share, all that jazz, and I will see you soon. Bye.